Right, so thank you for coming at this hour and listening to an illustrated talk. I will talk about the science behind my project on transformation optics. This is the science of the invisible. So, and we have a cartoon artist, Thomas Gosselin, if I pronounce his name correctly, who's trying to make the invisible visible, which might be a contradiction into itself, but let's see how it goes. And he has prepared some drawings for us. So there's not going to be live drawings, but he will show some of the style of the cartoons, how they are going to be, and illustrating what invisibility is. And for this, I would like to ask you to be prepared for a journey. It's a mental journey into another world. Let's imagine you're traveling to the Orient, to an Oriental garden, because the Orient is a magical place. I would like to show you some magic that is going on there. So Thomas has drawn a beautiful garden, and you see various strange plants and creatures in the garden. And some of those creatures, they are almost invisible. For example, there's going to be a chameleon in the garden. This is the chameleon. And what the chameleon does is it changes its colors. It changes its colors according to the background, and therefore you hardly notice it. And also according to its mood, of course. And there's another invisible creature. If you look into one of the ponds in the garden, so now I need a pond. This is a pond. There are fish inside. So this is a flatfish. And what flatfish can do is they can also adjust themselves to their surroundings like the chameleon does. They do this by sensing the texture and color with their belly and then projecting it onto their backs. Therefore, they become invisible. And this can be quite extreme. So you could put a chessboard into the pond, and then the poor fish will adjust itself to the chessboard, which is maybe not the most natural pattern, but it works, and then you hardly see. This is invisibility in nature, but it's not perfect invisibility. You can still make out some of the contours, and so how can you make something perfectly invisible? How can you make things disappear completely? And there are also some clues from the Oriental garden, some clues from daily life. And that is that essentially what you have to do is you have to be able to guide light around something and to bend light, for example, around this fish. So if you would be able to bend light around it, then you wouldn't see it. I mean, you look at the garden scenery, and seeing means perceiving light. So if you see something, then light streams towards your eyes, and the images are carried by light. And if the light goes around something, then you wouldn't see it, because it's never touched by the light, and therefore it becomes invisible. Moreover, you wouldn't even see that you don't see something. So everything appears completely natural. This is the perfect optical illusion, invisibility. But then you may ask, I mean, how can you do this? I mean, how can you bend light? Doesn't it always go along straight lines? And doesn't it always take a straight path? Not quite, not always. Let me show you this with the help of Thomas. So imagine you look into an aquarium. So this is now the interior of the aquarium. We need some water for the aquarium as well. So this is the water. And we need something to look at it. And let's take a fish again. And now if you look into an aquarium, look at the fish inside, you realize that they are not where they appear to be. If you move your head, they seem to be at different places, which of course is impossible. And how does this happen? Again, it has to do with the way how light moves. And so imagine you're looking into this aquarium, and then you're seeing the image of the fish. That means you're seeing the light that originates from the fish that is scattered by and then goes to the eye. This light is bent at the surface between air and water, and therefore the image of the fish is not at the place where it actually is, but in a different place. You're getting an illusion. Right, but then you may ask me, how is that possible? So we're talking about light and completely transparent materials like air or water, and how can something that you can see through, how is it able to bend light? And then comes something that is perhaps even more magical than invisibility itself. And that was discovered in the 17th century by French scientist Pierre de Fermat. Here he is. And it is the principle of the shortest travel time. The story is the following. So I will need some drawing as well, drawing how light moves. So if light moves from A to B, then it moves through a material. What materials do? They slow down the speed of light a little bit. Air, very little. Water is able to slow down light by about 25%, glass by 33%. And so materials slow down light, but light tries to find the fastest way. So if it moves from one material to the other, then it has to adjust itself. Some part it is fast, and therefore it stays longer, in other parts it's slower. And so it comes that light moves along a curved path. So, therefore, if you want to make yourself or something invisible, what you need to do, you need to have materials where you can change the speed of light in a certain way. And in order to create this illusion. But let's think about this one more time, about Fermat's principle. And think about this and ponder about this like the chameleon would do, or the scientist that also looks a little bit like a chameleon. And pause for a second. So Fermat's principle says that if light goes from some place A to another place B, then it chooses the shortest possible time. Isn't this strange? So first of all, the question you may ask me, imagine I send out light from a place A. How do I know that it arrives at another place B? It could be anything. So just imagine this situation, and that light goes from A. So Tom, if you could put the picture up. So it starts at A, it goes to B, but this could be somewhere else. So how do you know that it arrives at a specific place? And then, how can light plan that it must go a certain path in order to be the fastest? And plan this before it actually goes. So how can light or something travel or know about the path it has to go before it has traveled it? And yet, this is something that happens in reality, happens all around you. And for example, it is important in parts of technology. A good example is fiber optics. So this is a bundle of fibers. The entire internet is made of glass fiber where information travels in those fibers. And these fibers are able to carry light with it. So if you bend the fiber, then the light inside is bent as well. And Fermat's principle describes how this happens and how a piece of glass, such as the core of the fiber, is able to bend the light. But this is something deeply mysterious, as I tried to explain. So when light travels from one place to another, how does it know that it should arrive from A to B at a specific point B? And how does it know before traveling the path that it must go so? So that is something that is mysterious, has been mysterious for a long time, and some of the best and brightest scientists of the last 400 years, starting from Pierre de Fermat to more modern times, have thought about this and have been puzzled by it. We know some answers now. We know we have some explanations for this principle, but the magic behind it has not completely disappeared. Thank you.